Alright, so the Super Mario Bros. Movie just came out in theaters. I've got some thoughts on it, so let's get into it. And Super Mario Bros. Is the latest Illumination film to hit theaters, combining some of the Nintendo magic with the Illumination style of animation. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and like the video to see more content like this. I try to keep up as best as I can with the theater releases. There's a lot of good stuff coming out, especially in spring 2023, and a lot of great things to cover. So the premise of this one is that Super Mario Brothers, Luigi and Mario get launched into this Nintendo world and have to travel the universe and face some of the challenges along the way. Obviously, everyone is familiar with Illumination's style of doing their animated films, and people definitely have varying opinions on them, but I just want to evaluate this from a film standpoint and not looking at it as, you know, an Illumination design or anything like that. So let's get into what I liked about the film. And first off, I really enjoyed how they animated the Nintendo characters. I thought they did a really good job in this movie. It didn't look weird, or if you've seen the crazy 1993 film, it's a completely weird, off-putting direction. No, but they did a great job. The film is bright, but it's not too overly bright. The colors all make sense. They really did a good job of just transferring and taking what is already existing in the Nintendo world and bringing it into a film universe. And I thought they did a really good job of that. They didn't need to take in some sort of crazy different artistic direction. They brought what was familiar to people, transferred it to the main screen, and did a really good job of that. This movie really includes all the amazing fun elements of the video games that you would like to see in a Super Mario Bros. Movie. I mean, and if you've seen the trailers, this is not really spoilers, but you've got Mario Karts, you've got some of the different worlds, some of the different villains that we see in these Mario video games. We've got jumping on blocks, getting power-ups, things like that. All the stuff that you would want to see and that we enjoy playing in the video games, whether it's the newest versions of the video games that you play on the Switch or things like that, or the old versions that you played on, you know, the SNES. I mean, I've played all the different versions across all the different platforms. I've played the original on, you know, the Nintendo 64 and the SNES, and I've played some of the Switch stuff. So I understand the evolution that's occurred, but it has done a good job of borrowing all those elements. You get to see them on screen, they make sense in context. It doesn't feel like a video game movie, but if the video game world adapted into a movie and it now makes sense within a plot context. Also, this movie has a lot of great humor in it. I felt it was actually not quite as lowbrow as a typical Illumination film. They actually brought some of the humor up in a way that it could be understood throughout all generations, because I think what was different about this Illumination movie is, unlike something like Despicable Me or Minions, where they're definitely targeting a younger audience. There's nothing wrong with that, and really not targeting anyone over 30 in particular, although they might throw in some jokes for older people now and then. But with Mario, you've got people who are, you know, in their 50s or 60s who played these video games all the way back in the 80s, right? So they knew they need to appeal to a little bit more of a broader audience, realizing that a lot of people are familiar with these video games and have experiences with these video games. And so they did a good job of tailoring the humor in that sense. I did like the direction that they took. The villain, Bowser is the villain, not really a spoiler there, but I really do like the direction they took it in. I know that was kind of divisive amongst people. Some people are like, that didn't make any sense. It was stupid. It ruined the film. I actually liked it. I thought there were a lot of great humorous moments with it. Brought a little bit of lightness to a film that actually got not dark or serious, but got intense at a few times and really helped the overall mood and tone of the entire film. Once again, the voice acting here is really good in this Illumination film. You got Chris Pratt as Mario. You got Jack Black as Bowser, right? So you got a number of people. I think Seth Rogen was Donkey Kong. All the voice actors fit really well. I thought they did a really good job at that. Their personality comes through in each of these characters, but the character doesn't become the actor, right? So they do a good job of serving the characters well, voicing them in a way that makes sense, but it didn't become too overwhelming where it's like, oh, I can tell that's such and such person, and it's distracting. It was never distracting in the role. And although it's sometimes, especially with Bowser, Jack Black tends to take over with his personality a little bit, I don't know, I thought it worked well. I thought there was no problems with that, and it blended really well with the films, because it isn't like a ton of necessarily dialogue in the Mario universe, right? Maybe occasionally. So there's a lot of room for interpretation. There's a lot of room for adding some style And I thought wherever that came through, it was really well done. And I do really think that this movie is a crowd pleaser in the best way. We got to see all the things you would want to see in a Mario movie. In a world where, I mean, I think that's starting to change now, but in a movie world where everything is about subverting expectations and, oh, the audience didn't see that coming, and trying to lecture the audience on what they really should think about this character, this movie's like, no, we're gonna give you what you want in the best way possible, in a way that still is structured, it makes sense, it doesn't feel corny or stupid, but it gives you what you would want to see in a Mario movie. It makes it satisfying, it makes it a fun theater experience, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? This is a Super Mario Brothers movie. It doesn't need to be Inception. It doesn't need to be something crazy where it's just breaking the grounds of, thematics and how we think about films, right? We want to see the Marios adapted to the screen, not like the 1993 version, in a way that actually makes sense, and have fun with it, and that's exactly what this film did. Also, this film does a good job implementing video game music and bringing in other songs, well-known pop songs. I know Illumination is known for doing that, and some people, they take offense to that. They don't like it when more generic pop songs are included, but I actually thought it was a good mix. I liked the arrangement that they did, and it worked well for me. That being said, let's get into the things what I didn't like, or things I didn't like about the film. And number one, this is not going to be the most thematically deep film ever, right? This is not something that you're going to go really thinking about all the themes that were balanced and talked about in the film, right? And it's not really intended to be that. But if you're looking for something more than, a surfacey film with maybe just slightly a bit of depth, you're not going to get that in this movie. And I don't think anyone is going into this film looking for that. But I just want to note that that's what keeps this film from being like the best of all time or something like that. It's not gonna be the deepest experience or anything like that. And another thing is, this film is a bit on the short side. And you could say there's various reasons for why the film is as short as it is, whether it's trying to get more people through the theaters or they wanted to keep younger audiences' attention spans, whatever it is. I do think there could have been a little more to this movie. It does feel a bit rushed at times. And I do think that added pacing does kind of help, especially in an era where movies are just getting longer and longer. It feels like there is a bit of bloat to films these days. It was nice to get a concise story a little bit, and we're starting to get some movies with that again, but I do feel like there was a little more they could have added in this one. Maybe another 5 to 10 minutes, but that was maybe just a small criticism there. But overall, this version of Super Mario Bros. Is an amazing adaptation of the video game to film. It's an amazing, fun experience, especially if you're familiar with Nintendo, you played Nintendo games as a kid, or you play them now. I think you're really gonna enjoy it. You're gonna have fun with this movie. Like I said, are you gonna come away with the most deep experience in the theater ever? No, of course not, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see where this universe goes. It looks like that they're gonna be doing more films, especially with the success at the box office of this film, and I'm totally on board with it. So let me know, what did you think about the Super Mario Bros. Movie down below in a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I've got more videos coming down the pipeline, and anyways, I'm gonna give this movie a grade of an A-. I really enjoyed it, really thought it was good. Just some small minor criticisms there, but I had a ton of fun in the theaters. So anyways, I will see you guys next time.